Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be back in beautiful Timmins, joined by Mayor George Pirie, who's been an absolute champion for this city. He's an amazing mayor who's been a great partner. I can't wait to see what he can accomplish as a member of the PC government, a PC government with a strong voice for the people of Timmins. Together, we're tackling the hardest problems and delivering real solutions. That means rebuilding Ontario's economy with better jobs and bigger paychecks. It means keeping costs down for Ontario families and putting more money back into your pockets. It means working for workers as we get more people into the skilled trades. It means keeping our province and our economy open today and in the future. And it means saying yes to building highways and key infrastructure, including here in Northern Ontario. Last year alone, we put nearly $650 million in expanding and repairing northern highways. These investments will mean better roads and almost 4,500 jobs here in the north. Near the top of the list is Highway 101. After decades of neglect, Highway 101 is now voted one of the worst roads in Ontario. That's unacceptable. The people in Timmins deserve better than roads with huge potholes. That's why a re-elected PC government will invest $74 million to rebuild Highway 101 from the west right over to the Porcupine, Ontario Northlander rail crossing in the east. And there couldn't be a better time to rebuild the highway because we're investing $75 million to bring the Northlander passenger rail back to Timmins. This vital transportation link will help rebuild Northern Ontario's economy. It will connect industries and workers in the north with the rest of the province. I've been up here in the north many times over the years. I've heard countless stories of people not being able to access life-saving treatments, not able to see the specialists they need because their communities are cut off from the rest of the province. Well, that's all changing. My friends, we're saying yes to connecting Timmins. We're saying yes to new roads and rail for northeastern Ontario. And to my friends in Timmins, I just need to remind you that Del Duca Wynne Liberals derailed the Northlander. They canceled the passenger rail service to Timmins and cut this community off from the rest of the province. And the NDP sat by and watched them do it. Your NDP representative in the north and right here in Timmins were supporting the Liberal government while they canceled this vital link to the north. And all they do is criticize and all they do is complain and delay. Andrea Horvath is opposed to building absolutely anything. The NDP are happier protesting a road than building one. There can be no doubt, if given the chance, the Liberals and NDP will cancel the Northlander once again like they did before, and they will never rebuild Highway 101. While they say no, we're saying yes. Yes to building safe highways across Northern Ontario. Yes to building the road to the Ring of Fire and unlocking the economic potential of northern minerals and mines. We're saying yes to connecting all of Northern Ontario with high-speed internet and tens of thousands of new homes with natural gas. We're saying yes to building 1.5 million homes across Ontario so more people can afford to live in growing communities like Timmins. We're saying yes to connecting Timmins with new roads and rail. Make no mistake, Northern Ontario's best days are still ahead, including right here in Timmins. But it's up to us. It's up to each and every one of us to roll up our sleeves, to get to work, and get it done. This is the choice we face on June the 2nd. It's a very clear choice. If you want excuses, if you want more delays and more empty talk, well, you've got a lot of options in this election. But if you want to get it done, if you have one choice, we're ready to get it done, but we can't do it alone. We need your help. We need everyone in the province to get out the message. It's a message of hope and optimism, a message that Ontario's best days are ahead, a future with good jobs and bigger paychecks and endless opportunity. Friends, we have the team, we have the vision, and we have the plan. So on June the 2nd, everybody, let's do it. Let's get it done. And thank you. And God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Ford.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Natasha, Radio Canada.
Hi, Natasha.
Hi. So you just said yes to a lot of things.
Yes.
But you haven't spoken about the opioid crisis that's devastating Northern Ontario towns like Timmins. The death rates have skyrocketed during the pandemic. There's people sleeping outside just a few blocks away from here. So why aren't you getting it done to solve the opioid crisis? Why aren't you talking about it?
Actually, we are getting it done. We're the only government that made sure we had a Minister of Mental Health and Addiction. We've done the largest investment in Canadian history of $3.8 billion. We had our Minister Tabolo was up here working on a strong strategy to make sure we support people. I'm passionate about mental health and addiction, and that's the reason we put $3.8 billion in. Now let's go back to the Liberals and NDP, what they did. They did absolutely nothing. They never had a Minister of Mental Health and Addiction. They didn't put a red cent into mental health and addiction. We're putting $3.8 billion. I understand it's an issue here, and we're going to continue investing and make sure that we help people that have an addiction or have any mental health issues. And that's the reason we're going to make sure that we continue on having a dedicated minister for mental health and addiction.
One thing you did do during your time in government was cap the number of safe consumption sites. Cities like Timmins have had to fund temporary emergency sites on their own. Mr. Ford, are you personally against or for these types of safe consumption sites for solving the crisis?
You know something, I'm for helping anyone that has an addiction problem. I understand, you know, I've dealt with it in my riding in Toronto and right across the province. I'm passionate about helping people. We're going to continue investing into helping people with mental health and addictions. We're going to make sure that we're there financially and also making sure that we support the people. Again, I just want to build the contrast. This problem just didn't happen over the last couple of years. The NDP and the Liberals, they never had a minister dedicated to mental health and addiction. They didn't put a red penny into this. We're putting $3.8 billion, the largest investment in Canadian history. I'm passionate about this, and we're going to make sure we continue on supporting these people.
Next question. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
This riding has elected an NDP candidate for the last 32 years, which would seem like a formidable challenge for the Conservatives. I'm just wondering, you've been up here 3 times in the last 8 months. There's been a lot of visits from ministers. And I would imagine you're not here wasting your time, that you maybe think that there's a chance that this riding can change. Have you done some internal polling, or your party has done some internal polling that suggests that the Conservatives have a real good chance of winning this riding?
I'll tell you what's happened over the last 30 years. Timmins they just haven't had a voice. You know, they have Gilles Bisson that sits there, and he's against building roads. He would never build Highway 101. You know, he's against the Northlander. Matter of fact, he actually voted against canceling the Northlander. He wouldn't do Bill 101. There's no voice down there. And when we have an outstanding candidate, the mayor of the city, George Pirie, who's been an absolute champion with our government, he's the one continuously calling up, pushing new areas that we can focus on. It was his idea, Highway 101. He understands the concerns. He's connected with the people. The NDP representative, I think they take, the NDP take people here for granted, but they don't have a voice. Again, when it came to investing, he votes no. He votes no to making sure that we have critical minerals. He voted no to making sure that we have Highway 101 and investing into healthcare. Healthcare, we spent over $43 million in our time in office. That's a 60% increase. But guess who voted no? Your NDP candidate voted no. Folks of Timmins, you do not have a voice the last 30 years at Queen's Park. Here's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have Mayor George Pirie represent you, have your voice, have a loud voice at Queen's Park. Folks, you won't have a better candidate than George Pirie, and I'm asking you for your vote for George.
Good morning, Mr. Ford.
Good morning.
Bob McIntyre from Moose FM.
Hi.
Okay, I can see you hear me.
Yep. Sorry.
Just to follow up on my colleague's earlier question, yes or no, are you in favor of safe consumption sites?
Well, again, I'm in favor of pouring money into mental health and addiction, and we're going to continue focusing on that. We're going to have our dedicated minister. Our minister's been up here numerous times, not just once, numerous times, and in supporting people, and we're going to make sure that we support him with $3.8 billion investment. So that's what we're going to focus on, pouring more money into healthcare. As I said, you look at the previous government, they didn't put any money into healthcare up in the north. Just Timmins alone, we invested $43 million. That's 80% increase. We believe in building hospitals right across the province. We believe in making sure that we're hiring 27,000 PSWs, and we made sure that they got their $3 an hour increase. By the way, the Liberals and NDP didn't give two hoots about them for all the years they were in office. We made sure that we're giving the nurses $5,000 retention paid to give them an average increase of 7.6% increase, because they've done an incredible job. We believe in investing in infrastructure and healthcare. That's what we believe in.
I think I'll take that as a yes. One more quick question, sir. The skeptics in town, I think you probably know who they are, are suggesting that you barely knew that Timmins existed until about 8 months ago, and that you were actually trying to buy the seat with the tens of millions of dollars you've been pouring in here.
Well, I find it ironic that they didn't represent the people of Timmins. Before we got in office, what did Timmins get? Where was their voice? I'll tell you their voice. They didn't do Highway 101. They didn't put the $43 million of investment into healthcare. They canceled. The member here canceled and voted against the Northlander. So, folks, people in Timmins, I've talked to numerous people over the 4 years. And the stories I hear when someone has a health issue and they need a specialist, they couldn't have access to the specialist down in Toronto because they didn't have the transportation. As the sitting member voted against canceling the Northlander. We're getting the Northlander up and going, so if someone has a health issue, they need to see a specialist in Toronto, they'll be able to hop on that train and get down to the city. The NDP and the Liberals, they'd rather protest Highway 101. I wouldn't be shocked when we do 101, we have Andrew Horvath and the local NDP candidate standing there with protest signs, not wanting to build safe highways. We're pouring $650 million into building highways and roads and bridges across the north. We're going to continue supporting the people of the north. Appreciate it.
Hello, Mr. Ford. My name is Lydia Chubak. I'm a news reporter with CTV Northern Ontario News.
Hi.
And a lot of the questions have already been asked, so I'm going to ask you this. So many times over the past couple of years as a news reporter, I've been shut down and shut out from so many provincial bodies not wanting to take my questions about serious matters. Maybe they're answering me at 4:30 in the afternoon. Sorry, we can't answer that. No, he's not available. She's not available. Health unit, medical officers of health, mayors, police officers. I could go on and on and on. What would your government do to ensure that there's a better line of communication with the news media so that we can inform the public better?
Well, thank you for the question. I think I'm just going on record here. It speaks for itself that I don't know of any elected official, any premier, throughout the challenging times that we all faced as a world, as a country, and as a province in the pandemic, was out in front of those cameras on a daily basis. Answering questions from your network, CTV, every single day. We're going to make sure that we're available to talk to the people, no matter if it's your news network or any news network. As other politicians stop doing news conferences, I was up there at 1 o'clock every single day, standing in front of the cameras, getting asked some of the toughest questions. Where were the NDP and the Liberals? They were nowhere to be found. They sat there and just criticized and criticized and criticized. We were working around the clock with the chief medical officer, with the 444 mayors, working collaboratively with the federal government. That's what we were doing.
With regards to policing, what kind of plan do you have? Because so much of it now is dealing with mental health crisis. And we have a lot of officers here in Timmins that are not working, that are off either on sick leave or stress leave or whatever, and they're not out patrolling the streets and helping businesses who are dealing with so many issues. What's your plan for policing in
Well, that's a great question. I feel I have a great relationship with all our police officers, emergency service folks, be it firefighters or paramedics or police. We're the first government ever to build a dedicated mental health and addiction facility up in Caledon with partnership from the federal government. It's going to be absolutely spectacular that they're able to go and get the support that they need. Not only they can go, but they're going to have a facility that their families can visit. It's going to be the best in the country. We're blazing a new trail when it comes to supporting our frontline emergency service folks. And again, I go back, the contrast is staggering. What were the Liberals for 15 years doing to support our police and emergency service folks and firefighters? You know what they were doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're making sure we build one-of-a-kind facility right in Caledon with the support of the local government, which they gave us the land, and the federal government, and we're taking care of the, as we call them, the beds and heads. It's going to be incredible, and it's well-deserving. You know, the job of emergency service person, you know, they're around the clock, they're on duty, you know, as people are running out of fear of be a fire or armed robbery or anything. Who's running in there? Our police are running in there to save lives. Our firefighters and paramedics are running in there. I have the utmost respect for emergency service folks. They know it, I know it, and I'll always have their backs.
Hi there. So we're here today sort of talking about the $74 million promise. If you're reelected on June 2nd, regardless of the local result, is the city of Timmins still going to see that $74 million for the connecting link?
Well, you know, the people of Timmins, you have a choice. You're either going to have a very loud voice, which you never had, by the way. You know, I don't think I've heard your representative say diddly the whole time down there, or you're going to have a mayor that knows almost every person in this city, a mayor that's at people's front doors, a mayor that's connected with our government for the last 4 years, voicing his concern. Your local NDP representative takes it for granted. He thinks it's automatic. He can sit back and think, okay, I'm getting elected. That is such the wrong thing to do. You can't take the people of Timmins for granted that he took for granted. I'll tell you, one person that doesn't take the people for granted is Mayor George Pirie. He's going to have a loud voice, and all you have to do is travel around this town and talk to people about the mayor. He's loved here. He's going to have a strong voice at Queen's Park, and that's what Timmins has been lacking. There is no voice for Timmins right now. So we're going to make sure we're going to get George elected. We're going to make sure we get Highway 101 done. We're going to make sure that we continue putting record investments into healthcare. When I say an increase of 80%, those are staggering numbers. We're going to make sure that we have the Northlander, making sure that people can hop on the train, go down to the city of Toronto, get proper health care, and get the specialists they need. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, we're good.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.